The hidden death toll, how misclassifying homicides fuels. More violence. Public officials often point to declining homicide rates as proof of progress in fighting crime. But behind these statistics lies a disturbing truth. Homicides are being misclassified, hidden, or erased from official records to make cities look safer than they are. This practice is not just an accounting trick. It creates more crime by emboldening offenders, misleading policymakers, and betraying victims' families. The illusion of safety. When numbers are manipulated, leaders can boast of record declines, even as neighborhoods continue to mourn loved ones. Official reports may show falling homicides, but many of those reductions come from reclassifying violent deaths as accidents, suicides, or non-criminal events. The result is a dangerous illusion. Communities are lulled into thinking progress is being made, while perpetrators of violence slip through the cracks. Minimizing crime on paper only maximizes it in reality. National evidence of misclassification. This is not an isolated issue. It is a pattern across the United States and internationally. Washington, D.C., a homicide sergeant alleged that police deliberately downgraded violent deaths to accidents in order to drive down the murder rate. The Department of Justice has launched an investigation into the claims. Maryland, an audit uncovered at least 36 misclassified deaths in police custody, with reviewers recommending 41 be reclassified as homicides. Families were told their loved ones had died from natural causes or accidents, when in fact foul play was present. Snohomish County, Washington. A man who died during police restraint was ruled an accident, despite clear signs of excessive force. The ruling shielded officers from prosecution, showing how classification choices directly shape justice outcomes. Sudden infant death syndrome, SIDS. Experts estimate 2 to 10%, and possibly as many as 20 to 40%, of cases attributed to SIDS may actually be covert homicides. Misclassification in such cases literally hides murders behind medical labels. These examples reveal how death classification can be twisted into a political tool, eroding accountability and public trust. Chicago, a case study in hidden homicides. No city better illustrates this crisis than Chicago. The city has long struggled with violence, and while officials frequently cite falling numbers, investigations have exposed systematic underreporting and manipulation of homicide data. The case of Tiara Groves. Tiara Groves was found gagged, tied to a chair, and unclothed. The medical examiner initially ruled her death a homicide by unspecified means. Yet just before the year closed, the case was quietly reclassified as a non-criminal death investigation. This change erased her death from the year's homicide totals. As one retired detective asked, "How can you be tied to a chair and gagged with no clothes on, and that's a non-criminal death investigation?" Missing persons, closed as non-criminal. Between 2000 and 2021, over 343,000 missing person cases were closed in Chicago as non-criminal. Researchers identified at least 11 cases where victims were later determined to be homicide victims, yet their deaths were absent from homicide statistics. Audit and whistleblower evidence. An Inspector General audit found homicides misclassified in official data. Chicago Magazine and The Economist reported that officers were pressured to downgrade or erase crimes in CompStat reporting, with one officer describing 1,000,000 tiny ways to do it. The Murder Accountability Project, MAP, revealed that Illinois police agencies failed to report hundreds of homicides to the FBI, prompting a lawsuit to force the release of data. The numbers today: Chicago recorded 581 homicides in 2024, its lowest since 2019, but still devastating. Through mid-2025, official reports counted 192 homicides, a 33% decline from 2024's pace. Yet evidence suggests these declines are difficult to trust when past evidence shows homicides have been hidden or misclassified. The truth is stark. Even one misclassified death is too many. Yet in Chicago, the evidence shows this has been systemic. The real cost of false numbers. The damage caused by underreporting homicides goes far beyond statistics. Public trust collapses when families know deaths are covered up. Criminals are emboldened when violent deaths are erased instead of prosecuted. Policy and funding are distorted when leaders base decisions on doctored numbers. Victims are erased from the record, denied the dignity of truth and justice. This is not just statistical manipulation, it is moral corruption. Conclusion: demand the truth. Homicide is the most serious crime a society can face. When governments minimize, misclassify, or erase homicides, they are not just lying to the public, they are creating the conditions for more bloodshed. To stop this cycle, we must demand full transparency in crime reporting, independent oversight of classification decisions, and accountability for those who manipulate the truth. Until then, the numbers will keep lying, and the death toll will keep rising.